Don, welcome back.
Boy, I'll tell you what. I said to you before we were even going to start. I said, it's been a long time, Danny, since I've been in here.
Yep.
At least it seems it. But I have been gone all winter because what we do is, and we did this before COVID. It was actually the reason that I started working with Messina was to be able to promote us in any way possible. And in the wintertime, there's these big, huge sports shows that are set up in usually metropolitan areas around the Northeast. And so what we do is Linda and I go and we set up a booth with a big tent that Jason Hendricks had made for the town of Messina. It's beautiful. It's bright yellow.
Oh, wow.
It really shows us up. And then we have our TV screen showing videos that we've shot about Messina.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And all kinds of brochures and
Right.
things. And so we went to New Hampshire, up in Nashua. We went to Boxborough, which is basically just outside of Boston.
Boston, right.
Went to Springfield, Mass, and Sturbridge, a place I'd never been. It's kind of a touristy town in Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
And I got to tell you,
I think you've been everywhere.
well, I have in my life. I've been a lot of places.
Yeah.
But these sports shows really, I've never seen anything like what it is now compared to what it was in all my life before. Since COVID. COVID did an awful lot of bad things. But one of the good things that's come out of it, if we want to look positively on life,
Right.
is the fact that people are craving to get out now, to experience things that maybe they put off their whole life until something like this happened. So we had crowds that we got to talk to. I mean,
So the crowds were pretty-
it was fantastic. We had so many people that showed an interest in coming here to this area. And one of the things that we were careful about, we know that our biggest draw is the incredible fishing that we have that doesn't exist anyplace else in
That's
the country.
Right. Yeah.
But, and I say that, we want families to come here. We want people to choose
Exactly.
Messina as a vacation spot. And to do that, we need to be able to also talk about all the other things that are offered here. The things that people can do when they're on vacation, the places they can go eat, our campgrounds, the pathways and trails that we have. And then we talk about some of the things that are nearby, like the waterfalls and so forth.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you've ever been to those, but we've got some wonderful scenic places. And Donnie, one of the things you said to me before we started today was you love to camp. But you love to camp where there's water. And
Yes. I've camped and I'm right like close to I'm right riverfront. I'm right there. Water. Gotta have water. And then like fishing, so, kids fish and invite company over and they'll take, just for the fun of fishing.
Yes. Well, that's such an interesting thing that you brought out because I think water is a deeper
just- you
part
wanna
of us
fish. Yes.
than what than what we're aware
Something
of.
about it.
Yes,
I
we just to be near the water, and maybe
Yes.
that's one of the
Calming
great
and-
attractions of what this area is. It isn't
Yes.
just the wonderful fishing; it's the fact that you can be near and in and around water, and maybe that's got
Without water,
that
we're
soothing.
in serious trouble.
Yeah, well, yeah, you and me both get thirsty, don't we? So.
That's right. Fresh water, the St. Lawrence. I mean, what can you
Yes.
say? I know I say it every time we do an interview, but my goodness, that's like what a river.
It is. It really is.
Amazing.
We've talked about it.
Second largest in the North America, or
Well, it probably is. You got the Mississippi River,
I think,
and
yeah.
and then the St. Lawrence. There can't
I
be.
think that's-
I can't think of
I think we're
anything that
number
would be
2.
bigger.
Yeah.
So,
Longer, yeah.
but the difference between most
Right.
of the Mississippi
That's
River
right. Yeah,
and the difference of the St. Lawrence is look at the color of the water. Boy,
Exactly.
the Mississippi is a muddy,
Lake
wrong-
St. Lawrence, that goes way up Quebec City. I believe.
Yes.
That are
Oh,
crazy.
yes.
Yeah.
It is. It is crazy.
Yep.
So,
Fresh water
yeah.
and the fish. I mean, my lord, you can catch anything in the St. Lawrence Don.
You really can.
Now, here's a stupid question.
Okay.
The sharks.
Okay.
The sharks, right?
Well,
I heard that. I said, that can't.
Oh, you hear that? I've heard that over the last decade.
I mean,
a couple times. I heard one
Maybe.
day.
I don't know.
Well, I can't be on here and say I don't know. I mean, I'm not a biologist.
I know.
You would think that sharks want salt water, and of course,
Right.
the St. Lawrence empties into the ocean.
That's right. Yeah.
However, maybe they don't need salt water. I've heard before that
Right.
they've seen sharks in Messina near the dam, in the past, blue sharks or whatever they were.
Right.
Donnie, I don't know.
Yeah,
Anything,
it's-
you know, the mysteries of the worlds around us that we're not
We're
aware
still
of.
learning every day about species and all that
We
stuff.
are. We
really
really, so
are.
it's amazing.
Now, in your travels and tough, like Nashua, New Hampshire, 'cause they must have some pretty good fishing up in that
They
area,
do.
too. So.
They do, and it's a beautiful
Yeah.
state.
Yep.
And then, of course, Maine is right above them, and that's
Maine, oh.
a lot of people say, well, we've been going up to Maine, and that's about the same distance. Especially people in Massachusetts will say is coming out here.
Yeah.
The one thing that we do have, though, that they don't have in Maine, and they don't have in all these other wonderful places, is the size and variety of the fish that we have
Okay.
here. Maine has all kinds of good bass fishing, but the bass average only maybe half the size of what they do
okay.
here in this
Oh,
area.
All right.
And you know, so that's our biggest draw. You can come here and you can catch that fish of a lifetime, the fish of your dreams. And you know, but the other thing that we really stress, and the thing that brings people here, is we're not urban, and our lifestyle is so much slower, so much more relaxed.
Thank
And with that, and Donnie, I've talked to you about this a lot. The one thing that people say to me that have come here, and we have people coming up in our booth that we've seen in years past,
Yep,
and they say,
yep.
well, we finally came up to Messina.
Oh, okay.
And what
yeah.
they were really impressed with was how friendly the people are here. And I say that, and I know people they're probably laughing when they hear me say that, but honestly, there's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that seems to strike people that visit here,
Mm-hmm.
is the openness, the welcomeness, the niceness of the
Right.
people here.
Yeah.
And
More rural area, you know.
and it is.
So,
And
yeah.
so maybe we're not as stressed all the time. The other thing is, you know, I recently talked to somebody. I can't really remember the background of what this was, but they were telling me that they loved coming up here. And the difference was, I think this was a girl that I was talking to, and she said she comes from New York City. And now I'm remembering more. I think she's a college student up here.
Okay. Yeah.
But she says the difference is down there. She said, I never look people in the eye. We walk by and you don't look at people.
They have to be that way.
Whereas
Yeah.
she says up here, people look at me. They
Yes.
smile at me. And you
Yes.
know, as crazy as this
Yeah.
all sounds, the difference that takes place as you start coming into the interior and coming up here is you really do see a difference. I noticed it in all these towns I went to, and they all had their wonderful things
Right.
because people make places that they live as good as they can.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I noticed is even going in stores and McDonald's and places like that,
Yep.
the people weren't as open and as welcoming and as friendly as what you get when they come up here. It's hard.
I've noticed it too.
Have you?
Don, yes. yes.
It's
Out
a
of town.
really
Yeah.
you know, it's really special.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Yeah.
so that's what we've been doing all winter. I've been amazed at the reception and the feedback that I get from the people now, that they're anxious to come up here. They're anxious to bring their family. They're
Right.
even, a lot of them are anxious to find out if there's property and homes up here that they might
I
buy.
was just going to mention that.
Yes,
Right?
yes, and
Yeah.
that's a huge potential for us to
Yeah.
keep developing the way that we're developing, not lose the charm and the uniqueness
That's
and the
that balancing
specialness
act
of what we.
there.
It is
Yeah.
a balancing act.
Yeah, wow.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
So we have a lot of fishing things that are going to be happening this summer. We talked about it before, but as the months go by, you know, people might hear it once on the radio and then they might forget or whatever. But number one, we've got 5 tournaments, 5 fishing tournaments
this year,
that will
wow.
bring people up here
Okay.
that will be happening. But one in particular, I want people to be aware of, and that's the Big Bass Tour that's coming here from down south, and that's about us. It's about people that aren't pros. It's about families and kids
yes.
being able to
Yeah.
fish this event and earn money. They're paying thousands of dollars every hour for the biggest bass that's brought in that hour for 3 days.
Right.
And this is going to take place the end of July. I really want people to start planning for this because it's a unique opportunity, something different that has ever been done any place in North America, in the northern part of
Now,
the United
age
States.
limit. What are some of the rules to
Well-
participate in that, Don?
And and I wish I was an encyclopedia here to mouth it back to you. However, they can go online. It's very simple.
Okay.
Go online
Yep.
for Big Bass Tour, You can
That's
Google
correct.
it, whatever. You go on their website.
Right.
They'll give you all the rules, the ages, the money it costs
okay.
to enter.
Right.
But kids only pay $75 for all 3 days.
That's a great deal.
And they can
Wow.
compete for the same prizes. And a lot of times the big winner of these tournaments around in the southern part of the United States
Right.
have been kids.
Yeah.
And kids up to 18 are considered kids. However,
All right.
if they're less than 18, they got to be in a boat with an adult.
Adult. Okay.
Even though they might be
Right.
better fishermen than all us adults,
Right.
they still got to be in a boat with an adult.
Right.
The fish have got to be alive. So to enter, you've got to have a live well in your boat that will keep those fish alive. So when you bring it in, you're not bringing in a dead fish. A dead fish isn't going to win a thing.
Wow. Okay.
So that's
Important.
one
Yeah.
rule. But anybody can enter. It's about either buddies that fish together that want to see if they can win money like the pros,
Absolutely.
because the
Sure.
pros can't
Yeah.
fish it, or a husband and wife, or father and son, or father and daughter, or mother and son.
But a pro has to be sanctioned on by some. I mean.
Well, the way they, and it's all be on the rules on the website. But the way that they sort of determine this is if you fished 2 tournament trails during the year, you're considered a pro.
Pro. Okay.
And a tournament trail is the upper level of these events like we bring here.
Right.
So-
$75 just if you don't win, just for the enjoyment and fun over 3 days.
That's
is
a
well worth
tremendous
it.
thing. And for the adult, it's $200 for the whole 230 or something
Right.
like this for
Yeah.
the whole 3 days. But again, if you're only going to fish it 2 days, let's say, it's
That's
less,
right. That's
or
right.
1 day.
Right.
I mean,
Wow.
this is very lax in its sort of rigidness,
Right.
so that everybody can take part.
And what's the location of this?
It'll be
particular tournament?
at the Messina intake
where-
where we've
okay.
our very special
What a
intake.
great area. Oh.
However, you can launch your boat any place on the St. Lawrence River,
Mm-hmm.
but to weigh your fish in, you got to come to the intake, and you
Right.
got to come by boat. You don't get in your car and bring it here.
okay.
That fish has got to be alive.
That's right.
Because we
Yeah.
want to keep these fish alive.
Right.
And here's the beauty over other types of tournaments. In most all tournaments, except Major League Fishing, which we become a great partner with, but of all other type of tournaments, people put their fish in a live well. They stay there all day long. They pound along the waves. And then they put them in a bag and they get weighed in. And then we
Right.
try to take them back out and hope that they all survive. In this case, you're only weighing 1 fish in an hour. And that fish has got to be returned immediately. That becomes the property of the tournament. So they take that fish and then they return it to the
That's
St.
still a
Lawrence.
lot to take care. You're going to be a busy guy.
Oh yeah, well,
tell ya.
I'm sort of. We're always busy.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the South, like Georgia and these Texas, in the middle of summer. Okay, it gets warm up here, but the fishing experience between summers here, because it gets like ungodly hot down there.
Yeah, and that's why they're coming up
I
here.
mean, so hot.
This Big Bass Tour that we're talking about is an organization that was started 15 years ago, or maybe it was 25. I don't know. It's been a
Right.
long time in Texas, and it's 2 partners that run this. One
Yeah.
is from Florida, one is from Texas, and they're really renowned in the fishing world.
Yeah.
They decided that each summer they take July off because it's too hot. It's just too
Okay.
hot.
Okay.
It's too tough on the people.
Right.
It's too tough on the fish.
Wow.
The fishing isn't good when it's 95 and 105 degrees
Right.
all the time.
Yeah.
So they finally decided, let's find a place in the northern part of our country where the fishing would be great,
Perfect up
and we
there.
can continue this
Yeah.
event that they do.
Right.
And so they selected, of all the places all over the northern part of the United States, they selected Messina.
Sure.
And they selected Messina because, number one, we exist on the greatest fishing area,
Yeah.
but also we have a wonderful reputation of putting tournaments together with these big organizations. They know that we give it our best
Well,
shot.
the one last year, look how great that. I mean,
Exactly.
Yeah, and that's like pro. I mean,
That's pro.
Yeah.
But, to hold tournaments like this, you've got to have a whole bunch of people that are involved.
I can't
And
imagine.
in Messina's case, It's volunteers. It's volunteers that other people put together, and all these they do it for a reason, because they have a sense of loyalty to what we're trying to do up here.
Right.
And again, we're a special area.
Yeah.
And so the people that come from the South that have come in these other tournaments, the one thing that they've commented on over and over again is, well, two things. Number one, how friendly the people are here. They do. They say it. They didn't expect that coming north.
Oh, yeah.
And the second thing they talk about is how unbelievable we treat them when they come here. In other words, we have a whole group of people that park their cars, that have golf carts, that take them from their cars down to the water.
I saw that last year.
They don't get this in other parts of the country.
No.
And so we've gained a reputation, not only for our great fishing, but our great hospitality.
And
that's
last
why these
year,
places.
Don, it was so laid back. You're right about the carts. I saw you taking people here, there, a lot of families. It's for the family. And it was just, although exciting, it was laid back at the same time. And you're on the St. Lawrence, so I mean, hey.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah, it was, and you were right about the pavilions, the work out there, what they've done. I couldn't believe it.
It's beautiful.
Oh,
it's beautiful.
yeah.
And you know, we have to, people here that might not know have to be aware that the reason that exists out there, the Messina intake and the beautiful pavilion and the landscaping and everything that's been done, the boat launching area, the all the boat slips and docks that have been put in for people.
A lot of improvements. Man.
The reason is because the Power Authority.
Yep.
It's Power Authority land, and it was Power Authority money that made that happen.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for the Power Authority, we wouldn't probably be able to brag about having the most beautiful boat launch area maybe in the United States.
I remember there was nothing up there years
No,
ago.
there
It's
wasn't.
like,
There wasn't.
wow.
And if it wasn't for that, I doubt if we would be able to hold these tournaments, because you have to have a place for the people to come. Not just for them to fish, but they have to have a place where they can launch their boats, where their cars can be parked.
Right.
And then what we need to remember is, when all these people are coming here, they also have to have a place to go eat, to buy gasoline, to sleep.
Yep.
And while Dad's out fishing, Mom and the kids can enjoy all the other things that we have in this area.
Yes.
So that's it's a comprehensive program that we have to put together. And we have to remember that there's a lot of different parts to making this all work smoothly, and that's our goal every year: make it as smooth as possible, and then have our businesses and the people that live here,
everybody wins,
have something to enjoy and benefit from.
Absolutely.
That's what it's about.
Everybody wins. Yeah. So you got 5 tournaments. The big one is after the pro one. That's
well, no, actually, the big one is really going to be our first big event, which is in the end of July.
Okay.
Then in August, we've got another huge tournament coming, and then we've got a couple coming in September. But the one in July is our shining glory to have happen, because, again, we were the only place picked in the whole northern part of the United States. So we've got, not only do we have a great opportunity, but we got a big responsibility to make do the best that we can.
Yeah,
because we need to impress people that are looking from other areas. They're looking for a new place to go, and so they follow the action.
I just think it can only get bigger from here on out.
That's
I really
the
believe
goal,
that.
Donnie. That's the goal.
Yeah, I mean, where it goes, it keeps going year after year.
I have one other thing that I really wanted to talk about that I think is important.
Yeah. Okay.
On June 6th, there's going to be a special Kids Day that is going to be put on, and it's going to be a function of a goal of the Power Authority, the New York State DEC, and some of the people here in Messina that are going to make this possible, the school system and so forth. It's a kids' fishing day, but fishing instruction as well at Hawkins Point on June 6th. It's going to be free to the kids, and there's going to be 2 sessions of this. In the morning, it'll be the younger kids, and in the afternoon, older kids.
That's wonderful.
And we're going to teach them different things that will help them maybe get a start, maybe discover something that if it wasn't for an event like this, they might never get the opportunity to do.
Absolutely.
So this is going to be June 6th. If people want to know more about it, what I would say is to make a request to the town hall, to the secretary there, the supervisor, whatever. They'll get in touch with me, and I'll answer any questions that people might have about this event.
You mentioned like the websites too, Don.
Yes, and we'll have it on Fish Messina website as well.
Yeah, okay.
With all the, so that's all they really have to do is go on Fish Messina, and all the information on this event will be there. But it's June 6th, and it will be at Hawkins Point.
That's awesome, because what comes with fishing is responsibility.
You bet.
You know, and to be responsible and knowledge. With fishing, you just keep learning. I mean, I suppose you're still learning.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you never stop. You know, it's like anything.
You never stop.
No.
You know, and people have questions for me all the time. Sometimes I can answer them. And a lot of times, you know, I have the same questions when I go out fishing. And if I had all the answers, I'd catch fish every time. But no, I'll tell you what, I go out a lot of times and get skunked. And that's part of the appeal of fishing.
The nature of things, I just find just incredibly fascinating.
I do too. You know, this last week was the beginning of trout season. Well, it started the beginning of April, and I say the last week, now it's been 2 weeks. And I haven't done that in a long time. And so my goal was this year I was going to do more trout fishing. And so I was planning and so forth. And so the day came, and I got a chance to go out, and I'll tell you what, I never even got a bite, but I got out there, and at least
go trout fishing up by Malone.
That's where I went, up that area.
And oh my,
it's beautiful country.
It is,
and the water was really high and cold, and all the things I tell
trout
people.
Trout fishing's a whole different.
It's a whole different thing.
Like fishing other fish species, and it's all different.
It is. It's all different.
Yeah,
you know.
amazing.
And I talk about this a lot. It's different strokes for different folks.
That's right.
We all have the things that we enjoy, and some people might think that they'll never enjoy fishing, and maybe that's certainly a possibility. But they might enjoy some of the things they discover while they're out there fishing, the things that they see, and you know, there's so much in our area.
But Don, one last question is people usually either they're into walleye fishing or in the trout, or once you start getting into fishing, they usually pick a fish that they really go after. Fishermen, not everything, but I like to catch this type of fish, or walleye, or bass, or you know what I mean. They most people just gravitate towards one.
They seem to. There's some people that say, whatever bites or whatever bends the pole.
Right.
But Donnie, you're absolutely right, and I can't tell you why, other than. Well, there's certain people that like to play poker, and there's some people that like, you know what I mean?
The same thing.
And each type of fishing has a different sort of reward to it, because each type of fish prefers a certain type of habitat. So in some cases you're fishing big water, and maybe your joy is having the boat and feeling all the things that come from the boat.
Exactly.
Trout fishing, like you says, is so different. That's usually in the woods and in little streams, and so you find yourself in a different environment with different rewards. And I think sometimes it's a matter of, we as people tend to be cliquey. We tend to like to join clubs, and you know what I mean? And so some people listen to all the bass fishermen, and they want to be like them. They want to be like a bass fisherman. And other people, you know, they have friends that started fishing trout years ago, and so they take. I think we tend to be that type
you're
of.
Right.
You know, I wish I had a better way of putting it.
No,
but
that's
but that's what makes fishing so special. Is it provides different rewards for different people.
Right.
In no matter how they like to live their life.
Right.
I think there's something there in fishing.
We are out of time, Don. I could talk more, but unfortunately. And Don, what's your official title? I mean, Don does everything. I mean,
Don doesn't have a title. the moment I start giving myself a title, I'm taking myself too seriously.
Well, Don, nice you coming. Don Meisner again, folks. And he'll be in next month, I believe. So
absolutely.
All right.